This is a true story. This happened to me when I was 8 years old. I'm now 28 with 3 kids of my own. It happened in my hometown of Sauk Village, Illinois, a place that, according to official history, was simply a place where Indians passed through using Sauk Trail to reach other destinations. But I believe more. I believe they didn't just pass through. They settled here, even if only briefly. And there's always been talk of bones being found when pools were dug or gardens were planted, but most people dismiss it as just talk, not me. I know the ground here is cursed, sour. I have the stories to prove it. It was a cold, normal night in autumn, cold enough to keep you inside your house and snuggled under a blanket. I was doing exactly that, doing my homework so I could read later. I had been listening to a Rick Springfield album on 8-track, playing it on my 2XL robot toy. This was a toy that you could put 8-track cartridges into, and it would play trivia games or tell you jokes. Its eyes flashed red when you answered questions right, and they also blinked in time with the music. I was comfortable, content, and completely unaware that something terrible was about to happen. But that night, everything changed in an instant. The warmth, the comfort, disappeared, replaced by a chilling cold that sank deep into my bones. I turned and saw something I will never forget. Outside my window, hovering, was a creature, about 2 feet tall but sitting cross-legged. Its skin was snow white, and its bones were so thin you could see them. It wore some kind of white cloth, draped sideways on its body. It wasn't just its appearance that terrified me. It was the way it moved. Its eyes were locked onto mine, and I could feel its gaze penetrating me. I felt as if my soul was being pulled towards it. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. Then it opened its mouth. A grin, wide and horrifying, stretched across its face. Its mouth was full of sharp, jagged teeth. They were dripping with blood, and I watched as the blood slid down its chin and onto the white cloth it wore. I felt paralyzed. It raised its hands, the nails at least 4 inches long, gnarled and sharp. The blood on them was fresh, dripping down like a red warning. And that grin, it grew wider, like it knew me, like it had been waiting for me. Then, in a flash, I broke free. My body moved before my mind could even process what was happening. I leapt off the bed, and in those 2 seconds, I screamed with every ounce of my being. The terror in my soul had completely taken over. I ran. I didn't stop. I could feel it pulling me, its gaze still burning through my back. I screamed for my mom. I could feel it coming closer. When my parents, my brother, and my younger sister came rushing to the room, it was gone. But they knew. They knew I had seen something. They didn't tell me it was just my imagination. They comforted me. They sealed all the windows in my room with tape and shades. They didn't ask questions. They just made sure I was safe. I didn't sleep in that room for almost a year. My family and I tried to move past it, but I could never shake the memory. Every night I lay in bed, I'd never sleep with my back to a window again. Not ever. Years later, I moved to Florida, far from Sauk Village. I found peace within myself and built a family of my own. But that creature, the Ghandi Monster, will never leave my mind. And there's one thing I will never forget, the voice I heard in my head right before I ran out the door. It whispered to me, "Someday I'm coming back." Some things never truly go away. Some things come back.